What's up, YouTube? For today's video, we made full Wing Moves Pokemon team. So we got Wing Attack, Oblivion Wing, Steel Wing, Dual Wingbeat, and I thought I'd throw in Gale Wings as well. I was also looking through the items, I was thinking, well, Pretty Wing will do decent, but I couldn't really do anything to that, and it wasn't in the game. So I picked 6 Pokemon that had these Wing moves. If you do want to check me out on Patreon, people, if you want to join custom theme team or Pokemon Swim, you can check that out. The link's in the description of the video, tier 2 and above. Today, I've got 3 battles with the Wing moves team, and I'll tell you something really funny. I actually forgot to use Wing Attack in the battles that I did. So I did an extra battle at the end with purely based around Wing Attack, and it was a very special video. So make sure you check it out all the way through. Let me know if you got there. So first battle, this against Viral, Fortress Souls, and we have a Politoed lead here. So I've got my combi. I couldn't resist running a Hustle Choice Banded combi with Dual Wingbeat. So Dual Wingbeat did a lot of damage to Politoed, and Politoed is going to be setting up the Rain Dance. So it's not a Drizzle Politoed. Something like Water Absorb or something. So we got the rain flowing here. Now, the only thing about running, obviously, with a Hustle Pokemon and Dual Wingbeat, it can be a little bit inaccurate, but I managed to get both the hits off against Politoed and take it out. So I was very happy that Combi actually did something there. Most of the time, it would miss. Next Pokemon we got is going to be the Vaporeon. So this team seems to be based around rain. Dual Wingbeat is going to miss, and Vaporeon is going to hit me with the Icy Wind, and that's going to be the end of Combi. Now, Combi's EV spread, that was max speed and max attack, and I gave it Adamant Nature. It needed all the attack that it could get, right? So we had the Hustle and the Choice Band for a maximum amount of damage. Next Pokemon here we got is Wingull. We got Dual Wingbeat, Steel Wing, Tailwind, and Default. Now, I will say one thing too, if you're new to these sort of videos, what I do is I only attack with the moves with the word wing in it, right? So I'm allowed to have other status moves to help out the moveset or the team in particular. So this team, as you can probably imagine, is going to be very weak to Stealth Rock. So I put on some other moves like Defog and stuff like that. But essentially, all the attacking is going to be done by the wing moves. And they're very, very limited too. There's only a couple of them. So we got a Payday Vaporeon on there. So the winner's going to get $69. And I got some pretty good hits off of there. And I got a flinch too, because this Wingull has got King Drop. So the ability is Keen Eye. I've got the EV spread as max speed and max attack. Wingull's attack isn't really all that good. And we got an Icy Wind miss, and then we had like a Dual Wingbeat miss. And I actually managed to take out the Vaporeon, which is very, very lucky there. So I didn't actually expect for Wingull to take that out. So I'm getting some good luck at the moment with my Wing Pokemon. Next Pokemon we got is going to be the Milotic. So I was like, well, this is going to do no damage to Milotic. You know, I'm going to have to get some very, very good luck here. So 2 hits off there on the Milotic, and now Milotic is going to be going for an Ackering. So it seems to be a bulky set, which is kind of be bad for my team. My team lacks a little bit of damage. There is 1 or 2 Pokemon that can hit fairly hard, but mostly they don't hit all that hard. So it's got leftovers as well. I'm going to go for Dual Wingbeat, and it's doing very tiny amounts of damage. I believe that I'm going to get one-shotted by this thing, and it's going to be going for a Disarming Voice. I was disarmed by that move, and that does still a fair bit of damage to Wingull. It's not exactly what you call bulky. So Milotic is going to get its leftovers, and it's going to get its Ackering all at the same time there, you know, healing it up. So I've taken a quarter of damage off it, which is pretty good. Dual Wingbeat is going to land again there, so it's doing pretty good damage. I got it down to half health, so I'm pretty happy with that. And now Milotic is going to go for Brine. So Brine is going to double on base power now that Wingull is at half health or less, and it's most definitely going to faint. Now, the next Pokemon I thought I could bring it out, I've got pretty powerful, I've got Scyther. So Scyther's pretty powerful, and I'm going to bring that in because I want to take this out before, you know, it gets all of its health back. And I'm not really sure if it's got any recovery moves outside of Ackering, like, you know, Recover. So bringing in Scyther, this is definitely the best set on my team, of course. And we've got another one too that's quite good. We've got Sword Dance, Dual Wingbeat, Steel Wing, and Substitute. The item is Salak Berry, the ability is Technician, and the EV spread is max speed, jolly nature, and max attack. So it's going to be quite a speedy Scyther. So on the second Dual Wingbeat, I actually got a crit, and that definitely mattered because the Milotic would have lived there. Apparently, the Milotic was going for Recover, so that would have been a pain to get around. However, I did have Sword Dance, and I could have just used that again to get around that. So now Golduck's going to come in, outspeed me, and go for Disable. So that's going to disable my dual Wingbeat, which sucks. So I went for a substitute here. I thought, let's see if we can get rid of this disable. I'll go for sub to try and get the dub. And I can maybe get the Salute Berry up too. So it's going to be a physical Golduck there. Go for Waterfall on my Scyther. That's going to easily fade my sub. I don't have any bulk into this Scyther or anything. So I'm going to keep going for substitute here and try and get around this Golduck. Possibly, It's going to go for a Waterfall again. And that's going to break my sub. So I can keep going for sub. I've got like this, I'm disabled on the dual Wingbeat for 3 turns. So I just have to get around that. So now the Golduck is going to be going for an Aqua Jet this turn. So it's got priority as well. It's like, oh, I don't know whether I'm going to be able to actually, live the next day. So I went for Steel Wing there because that was the only move I could actually go for. And I think my move, now it was the no longer disabled. So I actually couldn't do anything before. It's going to have a low sweep. Low sweep is going to break the sub there. And that's the end of our Scyther's onslaught on the Golduck there. I went for the dual Wingbeat. It almost took it out. It's very, very close, but just didn't have quite enough damage. Golduck's going to go for a Waterfall, and that's going to be the end of Scyther. Actually, I think that I might have lived to Aqua Jet there just due to, Scyther's nice base defense. So I guess that's why they went for Waterfall. Next Pokemon is Talonflame. So Talonflame, I've got Roost, Steel Wing, Dual Wingbeat, and I've got Hone Claws. And I had to run a Pokemon with Gale Wings, and the only Pokemon that has that, of course, is Talonflame. Now, the item I've got on this is Heavy Duty Boots. It's a very good item for Talonflame and Charizard and stuff like that. Just in case I wasn't able to get rid of Stealth Rocks and it got set up and stuff like that. So this is going to be a max attack, Adam Nature, and max speed set. Talonflame doesn't really hit all that hard. And this Blastoise is very, very tanky. Now the Blastoise is going to go for a Flip Turn here. That does a lot of damage to my Talonflame. It's going to be a 2-hitter. And Blastoise is going to swap out. And we've got another Pokemon, being the Barraskewda, coming in. So I was like, well, I don't think I'm going to outspeed this. It's going to go for a Flip Turn, and that's the end of Talonflame. So there's like 2 Flip Turn Pokemon, the Blastoise and the Barraskewda. So they both sort of work there at the same time. So in comes Blastoise again. Now, also with this team, I didn't want to Dynamax unless I absolutely had to either. So, when I Dynamax, I'm technically not using a move with the word wing in it to attack. So I tried to wing it and not Dynamax in these battles as much as I possibly can. If I absolutely had to do it, there was no way out of it. I was going to lose, and I had to Dynamax. That's the only time that I'll do that. Sort of like a little self-rule I like to do with these teams. So we're going to go into the big bad Behemoth. Now, interestingly enough, Behemoth gets Steel Wing, which is always really funny to think about there. I don't know how it got it. I think it's something to do with the name of the team and Area 51, maybe. I think that's what it was, or maybe someone was trying to troll me. Anyway, so going for Screech here, we've got a Screech and Steel Wing set. Let me give this one to you. So we got Wide Lens as the item. We got the ability Synchronize. We got the moves Steel Wing, Recover, Trick Room, and Screech. The EV spread is Max Health and Max Attack Brave Nature with 0 IVs in speed, so I can go really, really slow. Now, unfortunately, it's a Water-type Pokemon. Like any Pokemon that didn't resist Steel-type moves, it probably would have done pretty well against. And Blasters are quite bulky too, so I'm not doing a lot of damage here. And Blastoise is able to set the rain up and go for Flip Turn as well. And it's doing a fair bit of damage to me. So Blastoise is going to be swapped out here, and we've got the Barraskewda coming back in against this. So this is probably going to be able to take me out. I just went for Steel Wing to get some damage off here. Some damage is better than none, right? And I got a defense boost. You wouldn't read about it. So I got a +1 defense. Now the Barraskewda is going to go for a bounce here. So it's going to be bouncing high in the sky. So I thought about going for maybe a Recover here, or maybe I'm not sure, like a Screech or something like that. But Bounce actually misses, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for Steel Wing and get extra damage. And I got some more damage there. Unfortunately, I didn't get another defense boost. That would have been really fun if I did. But Flip Turn is almost going to take me out. If I didn't get that boost before, I would have actually fainted there, which is quite cool. So Barraskewda is going to swap out again thanks to the Flip Turn. So we got the Blastoise coming in now. There's not a lot I can do here. I'm just going to go for Steel Wing. It's a shame both of them were Water-type Pokemon. I didn't get to do much damage. So Blastoise is now going to go for a Rapid Spin and take me out. That was disrespect. I actually thought I'd live that. So bye-bye, Behemoth. Now there's one Pokemon left. And this Pokemon is pretty dang good. It's going to be Yavano. So it was difficult to make Yavano interesting with Oblivion Wing because it's such a good move. So I'm going to tell you what this set is. So we got Oblivion Wing, max speed and max special attack, Timid Nature. I've got Big Rude as the item, so we get that massive suck there on Oblivion Wing. And we've got Disable, Block, and Torment. So this set was all about trapping the opponent in and making them struggle, you know, and then going for Oblivion Wing for some extra damage too. So Blastoise is going to go for a Rain Dance here. Now, the problem, as you can see here, especially with the last two Pokemon, they kind of countered what I was trying to do here, because I wanted to block the Pokemon in, which I could do, but they've got escape moves like Flip Turn, so there's not a lot I can do here. So I can go for the Torment and the block and stuff like that, but, you know, the Blastoise will be able to actually swap out by just using the move Flip Turn there. So the more you know, people, if you use block, obviously, you can still swap out there. If you didn't know that one already, I thought it'd be cool to actually show that. So we got the next Pokemon, it's Barraskewda. Now it's going to go for a Flip Turn here. I wanted to go for Dynamax here because I thought that it might actually take me out. But like, no, I'm just going to go for Oblivion Wing. I'm going to get the health back here. And we've got 3 minutes left of this battle. So now it was just like, they were constantly flipping back and forth. There's more swaps than you can poke a sticker there. So going for Oblivion Wing here on the Blastoise. This is going to do a lot of damage to Blastoise, and it almost takes it out. Like, this Blastoise was thick. So getting some nice health recovery back here, lots of health back, especially with that big root. That works really, really well. It's good to have a big root here and there. And Blastoise is going to get a little bit more health there back with the Rain Dish, which is only going to help me because that means I'm going to get more health recovery. So that's going to be the end of the Blastoise. Now, I wasn't sure if my opponent was going to Dynamax either. I gave obviously my opponents the option to Dynamax if they wanted. It didn't really worry me if they did or didn't, but we got the Barraskewda coming in here, and I'm going to go for Oblivion Wing. It is not going to go for Dynamax and just go for Flip Turn again, and Yvonne is going to be able to live that really, really well, because it's got some pretty good bulk about it too, and Oblivion Wing is, easily going to be able to take this out in one shot, And that is pretty much the very first game there. Hope you enjoyed the very first battle with the Wing Moves team. And yes, at this point, I did forget that I put Wing Attack on the team. Now, if you want to see where Wing Attacks get featured in a special little battle, make sure you keep watching. Let's get on to battle number 2 here. This was a battle against Juggernaut. And this was a pretty exciting battle as well. Once again, I forgot Wing Attack in this battle too, so we gotta check it out at the end. But I got something pretty interesting with the Wing Attack move. So first Pokemon is going to be Magmortar versus Combi. Like, you couldn't dream of a better matchup in your lifetime. So I went for Dual Wingbeat. Excellent damage there, and we got Fire Spin from Magmortar. Watch this! It just dropped me with one Fire Spin. Man, that was mean. That was cruel. That was nasty. I'm never going to recover from that. All right, we're going to bring in Willy Wingull right now, and I'm trying to go for that Willy Wingull sweep, but it hasn't happened yet. I popped the Dual Wingbeat here, and it did 3 damage. Like, man, that really, really sucks. So the funny thing here is that she went for Fire Blast, and Fire Blast missed, so clearly Magmortar doesn't have a lot to hit me with. It's got Fire Spin and Fire Blast, so obviously they were its only attacking moves, and its only attacking move actually missed. Fire Blast, I'd say, would have taken Wingull out anyway, even though it would have resisted it and stuff. So that's the end of Magmortar, which is good. That sort of makes up for Combi. Next Pokemon is going to be Gigalith. Now, this is a problem Pokemon. This is a very, very problematic Pokemon, because the only move I can really do any damage to it is going to be Steel Wing, and that's about it. Like, when you look at all the wing moves, obviously they're named wings, so they're probably going to be mostly flying. So Steel Wing was the only, exception to that. So I tried to get as much damage as possible here. Now, this Gigalith actually, this actually set up the Stealth Rock here. So I wasn't worried about Talonflame, but I was worried about all my other Pokemon on my team. So I went for Defog and got rid of all the Stealth Rocks on the field. It's going to obviously fire a Stone Miss at me, and it doesn't miss, and that's going to be the end of Wingull. At least there, I managed to get rid of the Stealth Rocks. Next Pokemon I'm going to bring in is going to be Behemoth. Now, I feel like Behemoth could definitely live one Stone Edge. And I went for Iron Head. They're trying to fleet spam me, so I get the Trick Room up, which is good. So one Stone Edge will probably take Behemoth out, even at max health. It's got a bit of bulk to it, but it's not like overwhelmingly bulky. This time I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for Screech here. What I'm going to do is probably bring in one of my other Pokemon and try and take it out. I don't think Steel Wing from Behemoth is going to be enough. So here comes another Iron Head. So Iron Head is a probably 2 more hits, or actually probably 1 more hit with the sand. So I went for Steel Wing and it landed. Excellent damage, but not enough to take it out. I was like, man, I'm going to have to rely on one of my other Pokemon. It's got Rocky Helmet as the item, and Stone Miss is going to land, and that's going to be the end of Behemoth. I could have gone for an Iron Head there, but bye-bye Behemoth. So I'm looking at my team and thinking, well, I'm not sure I could do it. Let's go into a Talonflame. Let's roll them dice, baby. So going into Talonflame here, and I went for the Steel Wing. Stone Miss finally misses. That would have dominated my Talonflame, and Steel Wing is going to take out the Gigalith. So that was a very, very lucky miss there. I did take a bit of Rocky helmet damage, but that's fine, you know. The good thing about Gale Wings too, it does give that priority to those flying moves, which is good. Next Pokemon is going to be Rotom. Now, I had a lot of trouble against this too. When you think about it, none of my moves are actually, they're all not very effective. So it's going to go for Thunder Wave first turn there. It's going to paralyze my Talonflame. I went for the Roost here to get all of my health back there. So now I'm at full health again. Now, when you look at Talonflame Smooth, I could go for Hone Claws here, but I thought, I'm not sure if I'm going to have much actual chance here going for that. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to risk it. Let's go for Hone Claws. And it turns out the Rotom's got foul play. I was like, oh, that really, really sucks. So now I definitely know that the second foul play is going to take me out here, but I don't really want to swap into any other Pokemon at this stage. So it's not going to go for foul play. It's going to go for Hex, and that still takes Talonflame out. So man, there wasn't anything I could do there. So things looking really desperate at the moment. We're going to go into Yveltal, and this is where the battle got quite long like something else. So with the Yveltal there, we're going to swap it in there, and I've got to try and get rid of this thing. So I'm going to go for Oblivion Wing. I just want to see how much damage it's actually going to do to it, and it does very underwhelming damage. So it's about a 4-hit KO. Give or take, you know. Now it's going to set the light screen up. I'm like, oh no, this is so bad. So there's not a lot I can do now. I actually misclicked here. I went for block, and I was actually meant to go for another move and not block, but it actually turned out really well because the Rotom went for foul play, so now I can go for disable. It's actually going to disable that light screen and stuff like that, but you know what? It's fine. I've disabled the foul play. There's actually not a lot that Rotom can really do to me here either, like damage-wise. So I went for the Oblivion Wing again. Obviously, it's doing no damage due to the light screen on the field. Now, I think this light screen was going to go for 8 turns as well because of the light clay. So now it's going to hit me with a Hex here. Hex is not going to do much. I mean, even if I get paralyzed, I'd say me getting paralyzed and then getting hit by Hex will probably be the most damage this can do. So I went for Torment there in case, you know, it started using like all of its other moves and stuff like that. And I'm going to go for the Torment there. So it can only use that one move in a row. So I just kept spamming Oblivion Wing over and over again. I didn't really want to Dynamax here. I didn't like really want to. And then I got some good damage there on the Rotom with a crit. So I'm like, oh, that's excellent. So I'm going to get lots of my health back there. I'd say that I would have probably beaten this Rotom even if I didn't get a crit. I mean, it wasn't really doing lots of damage to me, and I was, you know, damaging it fairly well and getting health recovery at the same time. So now it's not going to be disabled there. It can go for the Hex, and you can see the damage it did there with Hex. It was probably a little bit less than I was actually doing to it with Oblivion Wing. So now your final Oblivion Wing here is going to finish off the Rotom, thank goodness, and that is going to be the end of Upgrade. Now this might be some sort of theme team too. If you can spot a theme team in any of these battles, let me know. And that's the end of Rotom. Now we got half a team left here, and the next Pokemon is going to be Machamps. Like, okay, well, I can go for Oblivion Wing here. Let's go ahead and go for that. I know the light screen is still up, so it's not going to take it out, and man, that ate it like a snack. So getting lots of health back there regardless on the Machamp. Now Machamp is going to actually be a dual chop set, so it actually didn't outspeed me, so maybe they're hoping that I'd get outsped there. I don't know what sort of like thing this is, and then it's got a leftovers as well as its item, so interesting sort of set there. So maybe it's like a multi-hitting set. So I'm going to get paralyzed again, of course, and now it's going to go for Cross Chop, and that misses. Thank goodness, you know. That would have done some nasty damage, especially if it got a critical hit. So now I'm going to go for Oblivion Wing again on the Machamp here, and you know this is going to be enough, definitely to take it out there and get all of my health back. So my Yveltal is clutching at the moment and getting all of its health back there and hitting really, really hard. So bye-bye, Machamp. There's 2 more Pokemon left. We haven't had a Dynamax yet either. Now, the next Pokemon to come out here is going to be Regieleki. So this is a scary Pokemon too when you think about it. Now it's going to go for Wild Charge. Yveltal gets dropped in one shot. I'm like, man, what am I going to do to this thing? I've got 1 more Pokeball left, and that's my Scyther. Like, I may have to Dynamax here just to live the Wild Charge, you know, because that Wild Charge is going to do... This is a sweeping set, so it's going to at least do 3/4, and then there's no way I can take that out in one shot. So I'm going to lose definitely if I don't Dynamax it. So I went for the Dynamax on the Scyther. What I was thinking about there is either boosting my defense with the Steel Wing, or just trying to get as much damage as I can, you know, with my dual Wingbeat or, you know, max Airstream there. I was thinking it might be able to boost my speed here as well. Not that I'll be able to outspeed it or anything like that. And then it went for Reflect. I'm like, oh, there was double screens on this team. So I went for the Airstream here. You know, Airstream still does like a decent amount of damage considering there's a reflect up and it's going to be resistant. So that's all right. I got a boosted speed. So I was like, okay, well, I'm pretty sure it's going to use Wild Charge to certainly. How about we go for the defensive boost? So as you can see, that would have nearly one-shotted me if I didn't Dynamax. So go for the Max Steel Spike here on the Regieleki, and that was actually enough to take it out, which is really, really good. Just due to the recoil damage of Wild Charge, I thought it would be a definite good idea to Dynamax there as well, you know. So bye-bye Regieleki. I can tell you what, I'm not sad to see that one go. Next Pokemon is going to be Lickitung. It's like, okay, is this the Dynamax Pokemon? And it is. I was kind of curious what Lickitung would be able to do to me, because you know, any normal type moves not going to do much, but you know, normal type Pokemon, as you know, get a lot of different sort of moves, so it can have like a lot of different types of moves. I don't really know. I got to assume that I have to assume that it's probably got a Dark or Ghost type move on it to hit, you know, Ghost type Pokemon with, and it's going to go for Max Guard this turn. So obviously it's going to stall out a turn of my Scissors, last turn of my Scissors Dynamax, which is definitely a good play there. And that's the end of my Scissors Dynamax. So I've still got the option to either go for Sword Dance here or just try and set up. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for Sword Dance. Let's see what this Lickitung actually can do to me. It's only got 2 turns of Dynamax left there too, and plus I've got Substitute too, so I can outspeed it. So Lickitung's going to go for a Max Overgrowth, so I'm guessing that's coming from like Power Whip or something like that. That's not going to do a lot of damage. So clearly Lickitung doesn't have a lot to hit me with outside of Stab, you know. So now I'm going to get a Health Recovery, which is good. And the Lickitung's also going to get a Health Recovery too when I do some damage to it. So I thought instead of going for Sword Dance again, how about I go for Substitute? Get that sub up there and, you know, block any negative effects that may or may not be fired at me. So now it's going to go for a Max Phantasm. So obviously that's going to drop my defense by 1 stage. So it didn't really matter that I had the sub up there, but, you know, it didn't break. So I was like, okay, that's good. You know, I managed to actually lift that. The Reflector's now gone, which is great, and now the Lickitung is also out of its Dynamax too. So we get to see what sort of set this is in a sec. I went for dual Wingbeat, it missed. I was like, man, and Lickitung's got lick. You wouldn't read about it. So now that's going to lick my sub, and it didn't break it. So okay, so the ghost move is lick. And now we got the Scissor go for Steel Wing here. Steel Wing's going to land, but it doesn't actually do a lot of damage to it. So it's definitely an Everlighted set. Now Lickitung's going to go for another lick here, so I've been hit by 3 moves, and finally, of course, the sub is going to break. So at this stage, like, I could go for another sub here, but obviously their moves are not going to do like a lot of damage to me. I mean, the only annoying thing about Lick is it can paralyze, but I think I'm just going to attack now. So I go for dual Wingbeat. It doesn't take it out still. It's like, man, this thing is so thick. And it's got Supersonic. So Supersonic and Lick, that's cruel because you can paralyze and get Parafusion. So I went for an attacking move here, and Lickitung actually dodged the attacking move here. Also, the grass is gone too. So Dual Wingbeat actually misses. Like, man, I was going for the dub, and now Supersonic lands. So get this, Supersonic lands at 55% actually, but you know, Dual Wingbeat is actually going to miss. I was like, man, that's just really, really unlucky. So now Scissor's confused. I'm a little bit scared if I hit myself for confusion here. However, Dual Wingbeat is going to land, and that's going to be the end of the Lickitung. Thank goodness. I wouldn't want to hit myself for confusion. That would have been very, very salty. All right, let's get on to battle number 3 now. This last battle, this was on the Wycombe because I thought, well, I haven't used the wing attack Pokemon. So how about this time I use a Scyther? This is a battle against Cook as well. And I've got my Scyther, and we're going to be using kind of a similar set to the Scissor. So first Pokemon we got here is going to be Blissey. Now, straight away, I was thinking, I think this thing's going to use Stealth Rock, because they've seen my team preview with all the flying Pokemon. So we got Wing Attack, Sword Dance, Steel Wing, and Sub. Very, very similar to Scissor, you know? Same sort of thing. So I thought, well, I could go for Sword Dance or I could go for Sub here. I wasn't sure if they go for a status move like Toxic or something annoying like that. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go for it. So going for Sword Dance here on the Blissey, +2 in attack. Now it's going to set the Stealth Rock up. I was like, okay, that's fair enough. You know, they can see that I've got, like, most of my team's going to be weak to it, right? When you look at, like, Combi, Wingull, Talonflame, that sort of stuff. So going for Sub this turn, I want to see what move that Blissey is actually going to do. And it's going to go for T-Wave. I'm like, yes, this is great. Because what I can do now is I can go for another Sword Dance. Because I really want to see if I can set up here. I was actually a little bit worried it might have Flamethrower or something like that. Or Ice Beam, something annoying, but it didn't have that. Now Blissey is going to go for the Seismic Toss here. Seismic Toss obviously is going to break my Sub. And this is the point I was thinking, maybe I should go for another Sword Dance here. I think Blissey's going to Seismic Toss. Like, you know what? I'm going to try Sub again. If they break this up with Side Toss, it's fine. If they go for Thunder Wave, I might get another go. And they did. They went for Thunder Wave. And, Scyther is going to get another go here. So I've got 3 Sword Dancers up. The EV spread is fairly standard. We've got Jolly Nature. I've got max speed and max attack. And I forgot the, it's got like a sweeping build basically. And I've got Technician as the ability. So now we've got the sub getting faded by the Blissey, which is good. I'm going to go for the wing attack, and that's easily going to take out the Blissey in one shot. I was only kind of curious if it had Sash or anything like that, like a troll set, but it didn't. So that's it. That's the end of Blissey. Next Pokemon is going to be Luxray. I'm like, okay, they've got Intimidate, and it didn't have Intimidate. It's going to have Protect, and it's going to have the Guts ability. So I'm like, okay, well, normally wing attack wouldn't take this out, but since I've got +6 in attack, man, this Luxray is not going to live unless it's a Dynamax, Like, it's still going to do a lot of damage. Here comes Wing Attack. And there goes Luxray. So that's 2 Pokemon down so far. So bye-bye Luxray. So a third of the team's gone. Next Pokemon is going to be the Dragovish. So, okay, this might be Choice Scarf. I don't really know. I outsped it, and that's going to be the end of Dragovish. So half the team has got white right there. Man, this thing is sweeping. Next Pokemon is going to be Tentacruel. And when it first came out, I thought, oh, is that Toxapex? But it's a 10 Tox. That sounds like a German name. I think that's a German name. Correct me if I'm wrong, but my German viewers or people that know German, let me know. So that's the end of Tentacruel. Next Pokemon is going to be Schlinking, which is lead Guzzlord. Wing attack drops Guzzlord too. It's a clean Scyther sweep. Now the last Pokemon here is going to be Charizard. I've never seen one of these before, and man, it's disappointing that it's not shiny. So of course, as you guessed, we're going to have a G-Max Desperation right at the end here to try and live my wing attack. But once again, I've got +6 in attack, so like I was like, this Charizard's not going to live this. There's no way. It's going to be way too, it's just going to get hit way too hard. And with Jolly Nature, with the Scyther, should be able to outspeed a Charizard. So go for the wing attack here, and that is going to be the end of Charizard. A full Scyther clean sweep right at the end. Who got to this far in the video? Let me know if you did see the Scyther sweep. And that's pretty much it. That wraps up the Wing Moves team very, very nicely, and I'll catch you next time. Peace out.